Hi, everybody. If you don't know me at this point yet, my name is Rebecca Durance Hines, and I'm the founder of Orenda Cancer Community and Blog, which is an online community and blog that supports current and past cancer patients, caregivers, and anyone who's serious about prevention in the first place. If you haven't checked us out, you can visit both the blog and the community by visiting the links below the video. My guest today is Garima Gupta, a psychologist who writes about holistic health and mind-body wellness. She's a mind-body wellness coach who helps clients see how their mind, emotions, and attitudes are affecting their physical well-being. She also teaches master's level courses in psychology, gives talks on positive psychology, and conducts workshops for corporations and psychology students on counseling and mind-body health. Welcome, Garima, and thank you so much for being here today.
Hi, thank you. Honored to be here.
So to begin with, when did you first become interested in the mind-body connection?
That started quite early in my life. I come from a family of doctors. And while I was still a child, my older brother was studying medicine and my father was already a doctor. And their conversations around the dinner table would always be like, so many of the cases that they see need counseling much more than they need medicines. And they did not have the training for that. So while I always wanted to be in the helping professionals, that's why I picked psychology in the first place, because, let's try to fill the gap then, right?
Definitely.
And then when I started practicing, clients, I distinctly remember one client saying, I got compliments that my face is glowing. And we weren't doing facials, right? so so it was very obvious, the more you become open to it, you realize that, oh, I'm sneezing and I'm getting these allergic symptoms because I'm really unsure about what I'm going to do this evening when ABC happens. So insecurity connecting to your allergies. And so it was just about becoming open to the connection, and it was all there.
Wow. So uh, leading off of that, what's the medicine of belief and how our physiology is affected by what we think and desire and believe?
So, something that I love to say is that emotions are a physical reality, right? We hear people saying, oh, I'm not sentimental though, but that's got nothing to do with it. If you're going to experience any emotion, even pride, and it has to have a physiological basis. Otherwise, how will it get created? Because ultimately, we have to follow the physical rules, right? So, okay, let's take an example. Like, think about something that you find quite desirable. Just an object, maybe, or
Um, Maybe chocolate?
right. Okay. So you see, like Rebecca sees a chocolate, and the physiology in her is like, wow. And you're thinking about how it makes you feel good. And so a physiological system is kicked in you, which is very positive, right? And you're quite focused on the chocolate right now. And so you're feeling like a oneness with it, and you're in a good space. Now, as an example, suppose I look at chocolate and I feel guilt. Okay. So it's the same chocolate and I love eating chocolate, but I have layered my pleasure with a layer of guilt now or shame. And I see chocolate and I blame it and hate it for giving me big thighs, maybe.
Right.
Right? Now I have a different physiology going in my body. So just looking at that one trigger. That's pretty much how we go through life, right? We are looking at different events, and maybe we are only aware of the fact that I love chocolate.
Yeah.
And we are not at all aware that I also have this guilt and shame and anger because, I think my thighs are fat, for example, right? So there's very a lot of information available on exactly what happens in our amygdalas and then our, the hormone systems as well as the nervous system, because together the hormone and the nervous system is going to create a communication with different organs in our body.
Mm.
And so they will tell the cells in the organs to work this way versus that way.
Mm. Right.
Mm.
So in that way, the thoughts that we're having, or the emotions that we're experiencing are affecting, different organ systems or whatever on a physical level.
Absolutely,
Right.
yes.
Mm.
Yeah, because the thoughts and the emotions are being created through the hormone system and the nervous system, and all
Right.
of these need to affect all the organs in the body because their reach is to every single cell.
Right. Okay. So in that train as well, what are emotional blocks that people could experience that might affect them physically?
Yeah, but that's a biggie.
Mhm.
I'm going to enlist your help one more time for this. Okay. So can you recall an event or something that happened to you which was sudden, and it was either very frightening, yeah, preferably just really frightening. Could you
Mm,
share?
sure. Well, I mean, I lost my dad when I was 11, so that was frightening. Yeah.
Okay, just stay with that. Okay.
Mhm.
So now, when you just thought of that event, something came up in your mind, a visual, maybe a scene.
Yeah, yeah. Usually I think of like the seeing him in the hospital bed on the day he died.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry, this is going to be a little bit painful, but would you just stay with that and
Mhm.
like scan your body for me and tell me if you're feeling some sensations somewhere in your body as you're
Mm.
visualizing him in the hospital?
Yeah, I feel a little bit like anxiety almost, or nervousness, like in my stomach area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you still have a sensation in your stomach,
Mhm.
and this happened when you were 11.
Yeah.
So this is an example of you carrying forward a blocked energy in your stomach area. And so feel free not to answer this question because I know a lot of people will be seeing this. But then, do you have a tendency to develop some symptoms in your tummy, on your stomach, when you're unsure or feeling unsafe or something?
That's usually where I feel like anxiety and nervousness and stuff like that. That's usually, yeah, like I might feel like stomach upset, or that's just sort of like the butterflies in my stomach feeling. Yeah.
Yeah. So that trapped energy is what will again, trigger ill health in your stomach area, maybe
Mm.
in the form of, yeah, feeling little, yeah, unhappy.
Interesting.
So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So then so these types of emotional blocks, then they're caused by sort of like traumatic events in someone's past.
Yeah. But the traumatic event need not be just an emotional one, like an accident, or a really scary accident can cause that, or even it can come from our imagination, like hearing about someone you were close to develop a particular disease
Right.
and create that for you because somewhere in your mind there was this kind of, we are so similar, that kind of a thought was there or approach was there, and then they fall sick and you can create trauma about that, you know uh, not just because you're worried about them, but because you're worried about yourself.
Right. And it's interesting because I always had this, I don't know, this sense, I guess it was based in fear, but this idea that I would get cancer myself because that's what my dad passed away from. So it was, I totally understand what you're saying there, because it was, yeah, I kind of carried that into, what happened to him kind of carried that into, yeah, my own life for sure.
Yeah.